You've probably felt it before. That surge of energy after watching an inspiring video. That spark of determination after reading a powerful quote. You swear things will change this time. You'll wake up early, go to the gym, start that side hustle, and for a day or two, maybe even a week, you're on fire. Then it fades. The alarm gets snoozed. The workout is skipped. The notebook for your dream project collects dust. Again, why does this happen? Why does motivation fail us when we need it most? The truth is, motivation is not the reliable fuel we've been led to believe it is. It's not a foundation, it's a spark. We become consumers of motivation instead of creators of movement. It becomes a loop. Motivation video, crash repeat, but nothing actually sticks. Why motivation doesn't last, why it's not your fault, and more importantly, what actually works in the long term. But life isn't a sprint. It's a marathon with storms, detours, and days when you just don't feel like moving. This is where most people quit. Not because they're weak, but because they expected motivation to carry them through the hard parts. That it works the same for everyone. It doesn't. Some people are driven by challenge, others by fear, some by recognition, others by autonomy. If you try to motivate yourself the way someone else does without understanding how you work, it's like putting diesel in a gas engine. It sputters, then stalls. Because if you want to change your life, you can't rely on being in the mood. You need something stronger, something that holds steady when your feelings don't. Watching a motivational video tricks your brain. You feel like you've done something just by getting inspired. Your brain gets that little hit of dopamine, do I feel like doing this? And you simply do it because it's part of your framework. Habits thrive in structure, chaos kills them is dependable. And it works whether you feel like it or not. It can get you going. But discipline builds the fire that keeps burning. And that fire is fed by structure. But no real work has been done, no reps performed, no chapters written, no difficult conversations had. It's showing up when no one's watching. It's doing what needs to be done because your future depends on it, not because your mood allows it. You're comfortable in the illusion of momentum without any of the reality. And if you try to build a meaningful life or goal on that alone, you're building on sand. You feel good, so you act. You feel inspired, so you start. But emotions are unstable. But readiness is a feeling, and feelings lie. You don't need to feel ready to take action. You need to act so you can become ready. If you want to outlast the ups and downs of motivation, you need systems. Systems are what make behavior automatic. Systems remove the need to decide every day what you'll do. They simplify your path and reduce friction. A system can be a morning routine, a workout plan, a meal prep ritual, a calendar habit. Waiting for motivation is the mental version of standing at a locked door hoping it opens without ever touching the handle. They fluctuate with sleep, with stress, with weather, with something as random as a comment on your phone. If your ability to act depends on your feelings being perfect, then you've already lost the battle. Motivation is a great place to start, but a terrible place to depend on. So today, let's unpack what's really going on. Let's begin with a hard truth. Motivation is tied to emotion. Think about how often you hear someone say they'll do something when they feel ready. The second reason motivation fails is that it gives a false sense of progress. And because it feels so good in the moment, we chase that high again. Now let's talk about the idea that motivation is universal. Motivation also fails when we rely on it for consistency. Anyone can do something once. Anyone can be fired up for a short sprint. So if motivation isn't the answer, what is? What works is something far more powerful. It's not flashy. It's not always exciting, but it's consistent. It's discipline. Discipline is the decision to act regardless of emotion. It is setting a standard for yourself and meeting it even on the days when it is inconvenient. Discipline doesn't care how you feel in the moment. It cares about who you want to become in the future. This is not to say motivation is useless. Far from it. Motivation can light the match. That brings us to the next key idea. When you rely on systems, you take the guesswork out of progress. You stop asking yourself, alongside systems, you need identity-based goals. Most people set outcome-based goals. Lose 10 pounds, make $100,000, get promoted. But the most lasting change comes when you shift your identity. You don't just run because you want to lose weight. You run because you are a runner. When your body is tired, your brain is foggy, your stress is high, everything feels heavier. That's why sleep, nutrition, and movement are non-negotiables if you want to stay consistent. Not for vanity, for resilience, for the ability to make the hard choices even when life hits back. You don't just save money because you want to buy something. You save because you are someone who values financial strength. If you want to write, aim for 5 minutes. Starting is the hardest part, so make starting as easy as possible. That's how you beat resistance. If your goal is to move, commit to a 5-minute walk. It sounds almost laughable, but it works because it builds momentum. And momentum is stronger than motivation. You may be strong, alone, but even the best performers use coaches, mentors, or communities to stay aligned. Not because they're weak, but because they understand human nature and act small but daily. These small checkpoints create self-awareness and help you course correct before you drift too far. We're more likely to follow through when others are counting on us. not for approval, for consistency. On days when you don't feel like it but show up anyway, they have better systems, and they understand that motivation may start the journey, but discipline carries it to the end. On mornings when no one claps, no one sees, and yet you keep going. But if you learn to find meaning in the repetition, in the small wins, in the process itself, you'll unlock a power most people never touch. When your actions are aligned with who you believe yourself to be, they become automatic. You're not forcing yourself anymore. You're expressing who you are. This is the secret most people miss. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems, and your systems reflect your identity. Next, let's address energy. Motivation fails when we're drained. Not tomorrow, not next week, today, because action creates clarity, and clarity creates change. People underestimate how physical wellness supports mental toughness. You don't need to train like an athlete, but you need to treat your body like a partner in your mission, not a liability. Sharpen your instrument and your music improves. Let's also talk about accountability. Whatever helps you stay visible and honest. You're not being needy, you're being strategic. Most people set unrealistic expectations and burn out. Then they give up. But if you aim small, consistently, you'll end up going far. Don't try to overhaul your entire life in 1 week. Focus on building one tiny habit that compounds. Tell someone your goal. Join a group. Track your habits publicly. Now let's get practical. What actually works? Start with this. Lower the bar, raise the standard. If your goal is to read, start with 1 page a day. Once you're in motion, it's easier to stay in motion. Also, track your progress. What gets measured gets managed. Use a habit tracker, journal your actions, reflect weekly. And finally, embrace the boredom. Real growth is often repetitive. Progress is not always exciting. You won't always feel inspired, because the truth is, extraordinary lives are built on ordinary days. That's what actually works. So if you're tired of waiting for motivation to strike, stop waiting. Build systems, commit to structure, focus on identity, protect your energy, stay visible. Let the world chase motivation. You'll build momentum, because the people who achieve what they set out to do don't have more willpower. Thanks for watching. If this helped shift your perspective, try applying one small idea from this video today. Your future self is counting on you. Make them proud.